Alright, the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a long flat screwdriver, because what you got to do is go over here and down here. Now this right here, this is your mass airflow sensor, and you're going to loosen up this screw right here, loosen up that clamp. And make sure it's nice and loose, and you might have to reach down there and hold it. And then you're going to unplug your mass airflow sensor. Now this one should have had a little locking tab right here. But they got the rubber seal inside it. It holds them. What you're going to do is just back that up just like that. Take that off. Now this is a good time to inspect this tube right here, because if this tube looks in really good condition, if this tube is cracked or got a hole on it, and you have a mass airflow sensor, and this goes for any car, if that is cracked, this car will run so bad you wouldn't believe. I mean, it could be just that, and people selling you a tune-up and all that, and it could be just that hose. So if you got a problem with these cars, definitely check that hose first. Alright, now that you got the clamp loose and your mass airflow sensor unplugged, take your same screwdriver, and what you want to do is your tube goes right here, goes onto the mass airflow sensor. Take your screwdriver right here, in between. You just want to go around. You want to make sure you break that seal on it and push it back. Go around this way. You see where my screwdriver is?
Yeah.
And just pull that back. You ain't got to pull it out all the way. Just enough so when we take out our air box, we can just slide it right out of there. Alright, the next thing, you got two 10mm bolts right here. Just take those two bolts right out of there. Take your air box, pick it up, take it out of this tube right here, and pick the whole assembly up out of the way. Check that out, man. We are on to a good move. Now, if you want, you can leave your two 10mm bolts right there, or as a matter of fact, just leave them there. Or if you take them out and you can put them back to where you got them. But just do that. And this is another good time to make sure, guys. You got to make sure this air tube is not damaged in any kind of way. All right. All right, guys. Moving right along. The next thing to do, check it out. There's your power steering pump right there. There's the pulley, and there's the pump. Now, before we do anything, it's got 3 bolts right in the front on the pulley. So what you're going to do is loosen those bolts up now, because we got to take off the belt. It's going to be harder to take them off with this pulley spinning. So those are 13mm. And that's all you have to do is go down there and loosen all 3 up. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to open up. This is the cap right here. This is the reservoir for the power steering. Because when you do a job like this, you want to make sure you take out all the old fluid. You want some nice new fluid going through there, so you don't want to damage that pump. So we're going to take this fluid out, and I'm going to show you a quick way of doing that. Alright, now that we're going to be working from this side of the car, it's a good idea to get you a blanket or something and put on side to protect the fender, so you don't want to get scratched up or dirty or anything, because that'd be a messed up job. Alright, now doing this part right here, you can use a turkey baster. It takes a long time, but you can use a turkey baster, or you want to get one of these air bleeders if you have an air compressor. These things are great, man. They're for brake bleeding, but believe me, you can use it for a lot more things. And I'm gonna show you how this thing works. First of all, you hook up your air to it. Then you got your hose. Now, right now, there's a little bit of something here. Stick it into wherever you're going. It doesn't matter. This thing will suck up anything, gas, anything, because it works by air, so you don't worry about no motor burning out. Just hit the air, and you can see the fluid going in the bottle. So that way, when you take off that hose down at the bottom, you don't got fluid. I mean, you're going to have some fluid because there's going to be some in the hose, but you don't have fluid going everywhere. I'd like to think it's done. That is great. Now see, what we're going to be doing is we're not going to be removing both hoses, but see this hose right here that's going down, and this is the return hose to the pump. So we're going to be taking that off. So of course right now there's still fluid inside this line, so when we take this off there is going to be some fluid coming out of there, but it's better just the fluid that's in here than the whole reservoir. Alright guys, the next thing we're going to do is take the belt off. Now here's my hand here. Here's your tensioner. Right there, that opening right there, that's where you're going to put a T60 torque socket, and you're going to have the ratchet going to like you're tightening. And when you're tightening it, this pulley is going to move this way and it's going to loosen up the belt. Now if you follow my hand down over here, here's our power steering pump pulley. And once we loosen this tension up, we're going to take this belt off of that. So I'm going to reach my T60 down in there, fit it in, and I'm going to go like I'm tightening. And you can see the belt loosening up. So now while I do that, also guys, check this out. Get this light out the way. You got to remember that once you do that, this ratchet is going to start going over to here. So you want to make sure you don't mess up and hit this sensor. So what I'm going to do here is make sure I have enough room and bring my ratchet to right about here. Right about here. Okay, let's put our light back down there. Light in your way?
No.
Alright, so let's tighten it up to loosen up the belt. Take the belt off of the pulley and slowly release back. Put that belt to the side and take your tool out of there. Alright, now that you got the belt off, you can reach your hand down in here, and these bolts should be able to come out easily by hand. If not, just use your ratchet and all to get them out. All bolts are the same length, so you don't have to worry about getting them confused. Alright, let's get these bolts out of here. Alright, we got the bolts out. Now your pulley should just wobble right off. Let's see here. Of course. Nah, it's stuck. And this is a common thing with these BMWs. Now, this pulley right here is plastic, so you got to be very careful when you're using a screwdriver or something to pry it off. And just to be on the safe side, what we did was order us a new pulley just in case we mess it up. And it doesn't matter because plastic over time gets very brittle. So we're gonna replace that anyway. So let's go get us a flat screwdriver, but thicker than the one we used to remove the clamp. Alright, now what you want to do is take a thicker screwdriver and you want to place it between the pump and the pulley. Just put it like that. And see, that's what I mean, how brittle it is. Look at that. Broke already. Now, if you were going to a shop to do this job, you getting that old pulley. They're not changing that. So I'll just let you know. So once you loosen it right there, turn it a little bit. Keep turning it. See, that I told you, this thing gets very brittle, man. So if you're having a shop do this, make sure they change that pulley. Or when you go pick it up, open the hood and look at that pulley. Well, you probably won't be able to see it because the air box is in the way. There we go. Just bring this pulley up out of here. And there we go, guys. Look at that, man. So that's what I say, you know. And look at it. It even broke off towards the inside. So definitely get you a new pulley. Alright, let's throw this away. Alright guys, now what we're going to do now is we're going to jack this vehicle up put it up on jack stands. Now, I do not want you to jack up just the driver's side and put it on jack stand. I need you to jack up the complete front of this vehicle and put it on jack stands. And later on, I'm going to explain to you why. Now, what we're going to do here is we got this hose clamp right here going to your return hose. I don't want to take that off yet because they're going to get fluid up, draining all down there, and we have to get up underneath. Why? Because we have the high pressure line right here. And this high pressure line has a banjo bolt right up underneath it. So we have to get up under there and take that bolt out. And we're going to start losing some fluid just from that. Alright, so let's get this jacked up and secured. Alright guys, before we continue on, this is important. Safety. Before you get up under one of these cars, because these cars are low enough as it is, these things will crush you. You got to have it secured. Now, first of all, BMWs and Mercedes will have some kind of rubber or plastic grommet. BMW has these little plastic grommets right here. That's where you got to pick this car up at. Not over here, not over here, and put a hole through the floor and all that. It's got to be right there. So I got the car jacked up. I got it. Got it lowered down onto my jack stand. Now, I'm on concrete, so I'm good to go as a foundation. If you're on dirt, asphalt, grass, I don't know, whatever, the jack stand will sink into the ground and this car will crush you. Even though it's little, this car is heavy. So if you're on dirt or grass or something, or asphalt, use a piece of plywood, not particle board, plywood, to serve as a foundation for this jack stand. Alright guys, we're ready to take off this bolt. You're going to need your drain pan. You're going to need you a long extension. I got about a 2-foot extension. I got a swivel socket. And I got a 7/8 socket on the end. Now, let's take a walk up here and look at this banjo bolt. Now, what I want you to do is follow my socket to where we got to go. Now, we're going to go up. We're going to go between this pipe, this hose. Go straight up. Let me, so you can point it to you. We're going straight up to this banjo bolt. Right? You see it?
Yep.
Alright, so now that you see where I'm going, let's get our socket up there. And you see why I'm using a swivel now. Son of a biscuit, there we go. Alright, let's get it loose. Alright, it's loose. You can see the fluid starting to come out already, so that's why we got our pan there. And if you want, you can go ahead and... Now, I need you to be careful with this, guys, because on each side of this banjo bolt, there is 2 washers. And they're called washers, but they're actually gaskets. You know, it's a good idea. What we could do is, now that we got that loose, you can see the line over there, so we don't cause a mess, let's let this drain a little bit. Alright guys, now I'm at the top, because it's kind of a small area there. I need to reach your hand in and tip that bolt. So I'm at the top of the vehicle now. And here's my hand. I'm going to reach up under here. Give me a good angle with this. And go ahead and continue taking out that bolt. And your line will drop down. And you can see where I'm at? Mm-hmm. You see that right there? Mm-hmm. That's one. And then there's one right on the other side. So I'm going to take this bolt out completely. Alright, now we can just let that drain. And what we're going to do now is you guys are going to come up to the top. And now we can take off the hose for the return. Alright guys, now we're back at the top of the car. We got our bolt out down the bottom. The banjo line is right there. The line is over there out. Now we just got to take out this line right here. And you can see it's got a clamp right there. So get that flame flat screwdriver. And this is going to suck. There we go. And we might end up putting another clamp on that. That's good. If you have a problem with that, what you also can do is spray a little WD-40 on that or something, or PB Blaster, and loosen that clamp right up. Alright, so let's loosen this clamp up, and then we're going to push this clamp back on the hose back here. Alright, now we're going to take this hose off of the pump. Now you got to be careful with this because you can damage that hose, and if you damage it, you just out of luck. Hey, speaking of luck, I want to let y'all know, guys, what Sylvia just said. Sylvia said when we jacked it up, and I said, you know, you jack it up and, you know, make sure you put some plywood, even if you're using asphalt, because Sylvia said, you know, Sylvia said that's right, you know, because if that car falls, it could be your own asphalt. Oh my goodness,
what I say off camera.
That was funny as anything. Alright, so what we're going to do is take a pair of pliers, and you want to just grab the hose, and you want to, because it's kind of, because of the clamp been there a while, it's kind of like sealed up. So you just want to turn the hose back and forth just to break that seal. Just like that. Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. Then what you want to do, now also what you can do is take the same pliers and you can slowly turn it back and forth at the same time, pushing it back that way.
That sounds difficult.
No, see that? See that? It's coming out. Okay, now remember when you get this off, there's gonna be some fluid in there, so don't.
Again?
Yeah, and that the fluid's gonna be in that hose. Here we go. Yeah, buddy, and not that much because you took the time to do some suction and suck that fluid out of there. Alright, let's move on. Alright guys, now there's 3 bolts holding this power steering pump into place. One right here, which you can clearly see. One in the back, you can clearly see. But then there's one down into there. I mean, if you really look, you can really see right there.
I see it.
But you know what we're going to do, guys? We're going to make it easy for you. This is the idle pulley. We're going to take this idle pulley out. This idle pulley got, in case you want to do it, this idle pulley got a little cover right here. Just take your flat screwdriver and just pop that cover right off of there. And there's going to be a nut up there. 16 millimeter.
So they don't have to do it?
No, you don't have to do this, but we're doing it so you can see better. But you definitely don't have to do it. And you can do it because it makes it easier to get to that bolt right there. Okay, so it's a bolt. Looks like it. Thought it was a nut. But, so, let's get that off of there. And if you want, it's a good time to replace the pulley if you want. But this seems to be really good. Now, move the belt out the way and you can see it a little bit better. See that?
Yep.
Okie dokie. Alright guys, now we got the 3 T40 Torx bolts. Now here's a problem for you guys. If you use a Torx socket, T40, with a 3/8 drive, if you try to go in there and put that socket in there, the pulley right here, the drive pulley is going to be in the way, and you can get it in there, but it's going to be at an angle. And if it's at an angle, it's a good chance that you're going to strip that out and it's going to suck. Then you're going to have to call us. So let me show you what you need to do. Alright, so we're going to put this back. Now what you want to do is we're going to put a link in the description for this right here. Get you a set like this, a security bit set. Now what you're going to do is grab your T40. You're going to have a little piece over here. And what this does is lets you use a 1/4" drive ratchet and take any of these bits and put it in here. Now mine is kind of messed up. Yours won't fall out like that. So what you want to do is take a piece of glove or something. Stick it up there, and that will secure it in there. Now that's going to be just barely enough to get in there. So what I got here is a reducer, 3/8 down to a 1/4", just like that. And it's a good idea to get you a ratchet with a swivel head. Now let's go over there and see how this fits. All right, let's see how it fits. Put it down there. Perfect. Now see what I mean? It would have been just too short right there, the end of the day. So it would have been hard for me. I could probably got a 1/4" drive ratchet and it would have probably fit. But that way right there, now I can put my 3/8 drive ratchet up there. It's straight, and especially I can go down there and get to that other one. So let's loosen up this one. And see, with the swivel head ratchet is good, so you can swivel the ratchet to look like that. And then when we get to the bottom one, the back one. So let's get this ratchet set. And okay, there's one. Now we can go over here. And this one's at a little angle here, so that's going to be a little tricky. Oh, can you see it?
You got it.
You can see we got that one loose. So now what we're going to do, guys, is let's take these two out of there right now. Alright guys, we got one bolt and we have two bolts. The next thing we'll do is grab your setup again. And you're going to reach this. See how the swivel head ratchet, see how that works perfect right there. Go right there. I need to make sure my hand's out of the way. And you always want to, don't try to loosen this up without bracing this, because you can strip that or break the bit off or something. So you just want some kind of, something to brace that. There we go. And let's get that bolt out of there. Alright guys, when I took that out, I looked. And this one actually has 4 bolts. The one that we took out right here, and then down further back, you see that one? Mm-hmm. So, let's get our setup. Am I close to it? Oh yeah, I am. Alright, we are on it. And again, have your hand as a brace. This thing sucks. Try to be careful not to strip that. There we go. Now, since I broke it loose, I'm gonna take off the adapter and all, and I'm gonna switch over to my 1/4" drive ratchet, and I'm gonna go in there and finish taking that off. Something I can get. And guys, once these are, so I got my 1/4" drive ratchet in there, and go ahead and let's get that bolt out of there. Well, guys, this sucks because there's another bolt, man, in the front. You guys aren't gonna be able to. Matter of fact, if you look right through here, let me see if I can put. Where was I at? I think Wait a minute, what the heck, man? I thought that was the bolt. Oh, that's not the bolt. That is the bolt. See that right there? That's where that bolt is. Well, you're not gonna be able to see the bolt, but as long as you see my socket, right?
I can see this end piece over here.
Yeah, the adapter.
Yeah.
So just remember, guys, it is right there, up under there. So let me get my ratchet. There we go. And let's get this out of the way. So we have 5 bolts all together. Some BMWs only had the 3, but I guess this one had 5. It's all good. There we go, right there. Now let's see if we can move that pump. Now, we might have to get a screwdriver to pry on it a little bit.
Move that light a little bit. Too closer. Okay, that's perfect with it if you can.
Okay, let's see if we can move this. Oh yeah, it moved. Good. So now it's gonna come out of that slot. There we go.
So it kind of sits like an alternator or so.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's bring this out here. And there's your 3 bolts. There's the one up under there. 1, 2, and 3. And then on the back side, you have the 2. Now, I noticed in the back, let me go show you up there. This is a little, oops. It's a little bitty pump. Let's go up here for a minute. And let's turn it back like this. This bracket right here, the bolts to the power steering pump. You probably can take out those 2 external Torx bolts, and you gotta take out that one right there for the line, or see if you can pop this out of there, but then you might take a chance of breaking that. So, but then when you get it out, you still gotta take them out anyway, so just do it that way. Alright, now guys, we are ready to go. We are ready to get our new pump. Alright guys, we got our new pump. Guys, you definitely want to make sure you get a good name brand, because you don't, man, you're going to be doing this in a month. So, you're going to match everything up. Everything looks good. If you want, I already loosened up this one. But, okay, we're going to leave that on. Just take it off halfway. Alright, let's go get this set in the car. Alright, now what we're going to do is try, this thing came off, to put this down in there. Because this is a very tight fit. A lot of times, a thing will have little, a bracket will have like shims in it, bushings you can push back, and they adjust when you tighten up the bolt. These don't. So what we're doing is try to fit it down, and if it don't fit down there, we're gonna have to do something here. So put this part down in there. Oh, that's a real. See, that is a tight fit. All right. So what we're gonna have to do here is we got these 2 reversible Torx bolts back here. We're not going to take them out. We're just going to loosen them up. And looks like about a E14. Let me see. Right. Or you can call them inverted Torx. That's the socket right here. The light's in the way.
It's okay, I got it.
Alright, so let's give us an extension. I have a long extension like this. Alright. I'm going to use my same long extension and swivel socket. Swivel extension on the end. Just in case. Alright, let's go down here and loosen them up. Alright, let's get that other one off. Alright guys, we loosened those 2 bolts up. Our bracket is moving around. Let's get our pump. And let's see. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Right. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to set it right there. I'm going to grab one of our screws. Is this lighting messing when I get in front of it like that? Messing up?
It's okay.
When I get like that, it's... Alright, let's pick this pump up. And I'm going to put one right here in the front. And what you want to do is make sure you start them off by a couple threads by hand. And that way you make sure you're not cross-threading them. And I put one more than a couple threads. So we got one in. And I'm going to go back here and get this one going. Perfect. Alright, now let's get the other 3 started. Alright, now you're going to take your T40 socket and you're going to tighten them all up. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start off on this one over here. Since it's, well, actually, no, I'm not gonna start off with it. I'm gonna just bring this one in more. Since that one's the most difficult one to tighten up. Alright, now, and actually guys, I think what I might do is start from the bottom one down here. Now when you're tightening these up, they're tightened down to 16 foot-pounds. And you're going to start from the ones in the front. And then you're going to tighten the ones up in the back. Sorry about that, guys. If you don't have a torque wrench to tighten them up, especially the ones back there, I'll show you a little trick, guys, what you're going to do. Get your ratchet. Because remember, this is going into aluminum, so you over tighten it, you can strip it out. So what you do, I'll show you a little trick I do. You go. Till it stops. And then just a little bit more. That's it. Alright? So let's get all of them tightened up. And let's get them tightened up. Alright, we got all the bolts tightened up. The next thing we're going to do is reach down there and tighten up our 2 inverted Torx bolts. Alright? Let's tighten them up. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, let's take off this cover right here. Now guys, you got to remember to take this thing off, man. Because you put this on, that without that up there, you're going to get no circulation whatsoever. Okay. Let's get that on there. Let's turn this clamp around. And let's tighten up that clamp. Alright guys, here's our banjo bolt we're about to put on. Now let me open up this bag. Okay, you want to make sure you get new washers or gaskets going there. Alright, one is going to go on the bolt like this. Then it's going to go through the line. And then you got to get that other one on top of that. Alright, so now I can do this easily from the top, but the thing is, if I do it that way, you will not be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to try to do this from the bottom so you can see. Right there. Let's see if I can do it. Alright, you can see the line? Alright, here's one. We're going to get the bolt. It's got the one on it already. I'm going to go through there, and I'm going to bring this down a little bit so I can put the... Can you still see the line?
Yeah, I got it.
Alright, so I can put this other one on top, like that. And now, I got to reach up. Now see, this is where it's going to be complicated because of the angle I'm at. If I was at the top, it'd be no problem. But what I'm going to try to do is reach over here. And just like I told you before, you want to start this off by a couple threads. This is not going to work. I am not going to be able to get this like this.
You want to switch?
You know what? I got to take this back out. Let me get right here. Let me get over this side. I am good! If I did that, that's what's up, yo! Alright, alright. Yeah, that is in there. Alright, now I'm going to get my long extension with my socket and we're going to tighten that up. Alright, let's go up here. You want to make sure you flush with that. Don't do this and strip that bolt out. Perfect. Alright, let's move on. Alright guys, before we put the pulley and everything else on, we're going to start putting some power steering fluid in it, because so it can help bleed the system out before we actually do the bleeding. Now you want to make sure you get some full synthetic power steering fluid, and you want to make sure that it's made for European vehicles, especially, and right on the top, BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, Porsche. You want to get you some good fluid. Don't put no cheap stuff in here. Get you some good fluid. So what you're going to do is take it off, take the top off, pop. There's a seal. You got to pop the seal. Alright, and what we're going to do is pour it in there. And once we fill this up to the, and I doubt if one fills it up right now, but we're going to pour this in there and then let it sit while we're putting the rest of the other parts together. Alright guys, yeah buddy, we got our new pulley. The side of it looks good. It don't look charred up like this. I'm telling you guys, you go to a shop, they're going to leave you with that pulley.
Okay,
Alright.
can I change the battery?
Alright, let's change the battery. Alright guys, we're back. Now what you want to do is make sure you can see one of the bolt holes right there. So I know it's right there. I'm going to put one of the bolts in the pulley, bring it up, and try to find where that was just a second ago. Son of a biscuit, man. Right there, what the heck? There we go. Alright, so I know I got one started. Bring the pulley in, start that one. Then let's turn it and where's this other one's at? There's another one. Now you're not gonna tighten these up yet, because when if you try to tighten them, the whole pulley's gonna turn. So we actually gotta just bring them in till they stop. Make sure your pulley's on flush. Ooh, man, that looks nice. Okay, keep going around. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is, can you see right here? Now, guys, let's get our idler pulley. We're going to go switch to the other side. Alright, let's get our idler pulley and put that back on. Now, again, you didn't have to take this off. We just did that. But it is easier to use that and get to those bolts down there. 16 millimeter. Let's tighten that up and then put that cap back on. Also at the same time, guys, down here, remember, I didn't take no chances, right? Because I did say in the beginning I wanted to change that clamp. We put a brand new clamp back there, right, instead of that old rusty one. Alright, so let's get this tightened up and put our cap back on it. Alright guys, now we're ready to put our belt back on. It's gonna go around here. Now what's very important with this, guys, you want to make sure that you get it lined up, get that belt on all grooves right here, because if you don't, that belt will tear up and it will definitely mess up. So you want to make sure you're on all the grooves on there. Let's get our tool. This tension is really, man, this thing got some tension on it. So I gotta bring it in, bring it around, and get this belt around this power steering pump. I'm getting it set up. Okay. Now, you see that right there? That's wrong. So, you gotta, okay, make sure it's on the alternator evenly. And what you want to do is go around to all the pulleys and make sure that it is on. Actually, if you see those two on, the only two other pulleys you got left is the AC compressor and the harmonic balancer. And I'm gonna get a light down here, and that's on. That is perfect, guys. Everything is looking really good on this. Now let's check our fluid level. And it's still kind of full. Now, before we put all this back together, what you want to do is we're going to bleed the system. Now, I've seen some guys on YouTube that teaching you the wrong way. They bleed the system with the car on the ground. They start it up. No, do not do that, because if you start this up while that pump is dry, yeah, it's going to eventually work, but you just took 10 years of life off that pump. The car has to be off the ground. The front wheels have to be free spinning. And then what you're going to do is take the steering wheel and turn it all the way to the left. Matter of fact, let me go get the key, and I'm going to show you. Alright guys, now what you want to do is turn this wheel from stop to stop for at least 20 times. At least 20 times. So, all the way till it stops, and then go all the way back. That's one. Then you do it again. All the way, and then all the way. Now I'm going to stop right there too and explain to you what's going on. Now down here, you have your racket. Matter of fact, guys, let me get a pin. Be right back. Alright guys, this is how it is. This right here is your rack.
Robot face.
No, it don't. This is your rack and pinion. These are your wheels on the outside. Here's your power steering pump, and here's the reservoir where you put the fluid in. Now what you have a line going here. And how we got this? A line going here, and then a line coming out and going here. That's how the system works. Now when you turn this wheel back and forth, this rack and pinion is pushing fluid back through here. And it's coming back and going back down to the power steering pump. And it's pushing out all the air and bubbles as well every time you turn that wheel back and forth. So that's how you bleed the system out. Now if you start this car up with this wheels on the ground, this pump got no fluid in it. Even though the line going right here, it's just going to go right here. And you start it up, it's going to be dry. It's going to be tight. You're not going to be able to turn it for a minimum about 2 to 3 minutes. And then it's going to slowly start to free up when that pump is pushing fluid down into the rack to easy spinning. So you got to do this now to get all that air outside of the line. So I did 2 times. Let me now, and then you're gonna see what I'm talking about, guys. Because if you do this and you turn the wheel back and forth 20 times and go back up here and check your fluid like we're gonna do, you're gonna see it has gotten low. So let's do that about 20 times, and then we're gonna check it together. All right, guys. Now, I don't know if you can see in there that fluid went down there. So that's good. It's still coming to the top. So now what I gotta do is fill it up again. We're gonna fill it up right to about right here. Fill that up again and turn that another 20 times. Alright guys, we did it. It went down some, so I'm gonna fill it back up. But that should be it for bleeding it. Now when you do this, when you do the bleeding procedure, the pump still it might make a little noise when it first starts up and go away, but as long as it's not starting up dry, that's all that matters. So we're gonna put a little fluid in here and cover this up. And let's get this other stuff back together. Alright guys, we are now ready to install our air cleaner. Let's lower it down into the car. Get this tubing over here. But mainly, this one over here. You best to make sure that one is on. And actually what we're going to do here is going to bring this clamp around. Dang it, you should have brought that clamp around there. Let's get it. Should have brought it around here before. Did that. Alright. Brought the head of the clamp right there. And before we tighten anything up, we want to make sure this thing is up there. And then let's tighten that clamp up. Alright, we got that tightened up. The next thing we're going to do is let's plug up our mass airflow sensor. Get that plugged up. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is these two 10mm bolts. Let's tighten those up. Alright guys, now we're going to start it up while it's up in the air. Now again, the pump may make noise. It might, and if it does, it's only going to go away for a minute tops. So let's start it up. That's great. Now what we're going to do is turn the wheel back to forth, just about 1 or 2 times. Right, then I'm gonna shut it off. We can go out here and check our fluid. Oh man, that went down. Imagine if we didn't bleed that. So now we're gonna fill this back up, and now we're gonna let the car down off the jack stands and check our steering. And this is a good time to also check check for leaks as well. Alright, so let's close this off and let's take the car off the jack stands. Alright guys, let's take this off. We don't need this no more. Let's go over here. Matter of fact, you want to come around this side so you can see. I'd be faking, be like, turn this through really hard, and be like, dang, it didn't work good. Like that didn't. So let's check this out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And look at that, guys. Every single video you see on YouTube, when they start it up, that pump's making noise, and they tell you it's gonna go away. This is how it's supposed to be done. This is what I'm talking about. Alright guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video.